Kori Cheverie's with us. She joins us from Montreal, from PWHL training camps, which just opened on Wednesday. Really exciting time in women's hockey, and got a great coach to chat for the next little bit. Kori, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me. I was excited when I got the call.
Oh, great. Well, we were very excited when we heard that you were going to come on. And yeah, we literally booted our third co-host, said, go back on your Swedish
hit the road,
vacation. Get out. 10 minutes with Max. We need more time with Kori. We don't care about the Red Wings today. So training camps are officially open in the PWHL. On ice starts Friday. It's kind of medicals, fitness testing going on right now. It was in the Toronto camp yesterday, and it was a pretty cool setup, seeing everyone getting fitted for whatever equipment they wanted. Like Nat Spooner's buzzing around being like, which kind of gear should I get? It's like first day of school, like book fair day almost. Like everyone's just buzzing, trying to pick out all their stuff for the school year. So what can you tell us about the vibe in Montreal right now, Kori?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very similar vibe. I think it was really cool for us as staff members to finally have everybody in person, all of the players, in the building. And we had a pretty cool picture posted of all the players walking towards our first meeting, which was just surreal, right? We've had phone conversations, we've had emails, we've had Zoom calls, and now for everyone to be in the building was pretty cool. And we just had such a great setup for the first day in Montreal, from our meeting to the press conference, and getting some of the medical accomplished yesterday as well. So the energy was really high. The vibe was good. The players were so excited to be there and to finally meet each other. And so we feel like we've got a really good group of people.
Well, take us back to getting this job. I know the past few months have been, I'm continually blown away by how much work you guys have put in, really, since the announcement. But I mean, what was the process like for you landing in Montreal? Because we all were so excited when we saw you pop up as the person there.
Yeah, I mean, I had established a relationship with some of the staff, and with Danielle Sauvageau from working with Team Harvey's in the PWHPA last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, my vision and Danielle's vision aligned, and it was something that really excited me. Montreal was a city that I haven't lived in yet. And I knew that, with the team that we were going to put together, I had a lot of trust in that. And, I'm currently working on my French, and that's actually been something that I've wanted to do over the past few years. I took French all through school, but if you don't use it, you lose it, so they say. And
yes, that's true.
So that's been kind of cool too, just to really dive into my French lessons. It kind of gives my brain a break from hockey, and it makes me think differently. And so that's been pretty cool too. So Montreal was a no-brainer for me, and I was really excited to get the opportunity. And kind of looking back on the process now, it's like, wow, we are the original 6 coaches
Mm-hmm.
of this league, and a pretty coveted position to be one of the 6. And so I'm forever grateful for that opportunity to start this and be with the team that we have. And being a player back in the day in the CWHL, and seeing how far it has come to this point, it's exciting for me as a former player and now a coach, to be able to go into this new era side by side, shoulder to shoulder with these players, and really create something special.
I'm curious, and I was going to ask this a little bit later, but I'll just do it now because you mentioned the CWHL. So you're with the Furies from 2010 to 2016.
Yeah,
and
6 years.
And I know we're still in the early stages of this league. Puck hasn't dropped yet, but like, what is different to you already about the PWHL, and like what makes this league so important for the future of the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think, back in the CWHL days, we did the best we could with what we had. And I think the biggest difference is just the investment and the resources that are now going into this league, and having people in place for the positions that I think were lacking back in the day. So now we have, not one person doing 10 jobs. We have 10 people for those 10 jobs. And I think that that is so, so important. I mean, kudos to all the pioneers back in the day who did all of those tasks and gladly did them to keep women's hockey on the ice. But now we're in a place where women's sports are supported and women's sports are watched. And so, it's a really exciting time, and we wouldn't be where we are today without everybody and all their work from the past, but now we're just supported in a much different way. And it's so amazing to see.
Can you take us through the draft day, Kori? I was there. I guess I kind of was working two jobs that day, going from the broadcast then down to the draft floor. So I didn't totally get the whole experience of when it started, but you obviously see all the GMs at the draft tables and all the players are there, their families are there. Montreal makes its 15 selections. Like, what was that day like for you? And I guess how much, and this might be a silly question, but how much input did you feel you were putting into with like Danielle Sauvageau at the table and saying like, oh, I could really use a player like this on my, second line, or this could be really good for a D pair? What was that kind of process like?
Yeah, so really cool day. I don't think I'll ever forget that day, but there's so much that goes into it. The level of preparation before the day actually happens. We obviously had a team of people working together, watching the players, ranking the players, really coming up with plan A, B, C, D, E for every scenario that could possibly come our way. And that was pretty cool to see, like, oh yeah, we got our A plan, or hey, we need to pivot quickly here with our next plan. And so having to think on the spot and having to make decisions on the spot was a really cool opportunity to go through that. And then Danielle, I mean, her and we worked together on everything. So I was heavily involved in all of those picks. And I think the biggest thing is we have to trust each other, but we also had to trust our list. We had put a lot of time and effort into the list that we had created. And we were really aware that going off track or going off script on the final day was something that we didn't want to do, and we weren't prepared to do, because we knew we had done our research, we knew we had done the homework. So we really had to trust what research we had done. It was a long day, or so the outsiders say, but it literally felt like 5 minutes. And so I can imagine for the players, like, it was so cool. Their families were there. The players were waiting for their names to be called. People flew from all over the world to be there. And then obviously, the structure, the stage, the professionalism of it all. It was really a really cool environment to be in, and to see how much time and effort was put into a women's hockey draft was just incredible. Going up on stage and announcing picks, that was a whole other scary thing, and but you got used to it, and I ended up doing a couple of picks in French because,
Yeah.
and that was totally last minute. And I was like, hey, I want to do these picks in French. Write me my script. And obviously it's pretty easy script, but it was kind of cool to go up there and even just, I had gotten comfortable going up and announcing picks, and then it's like, okay, now let's make it more challenging.
Started getting bolder and bolder as the day went on. Yeah.
Increasing the degree of difficulty.
That's right.
Danielle, give me a couple sentences this time.
Yeah, let's
I
go.
want to say something else. Yeah.
I was, at that time, I wasn't ready for a couple of sentences, but I was ready to try. And I think that that's the biggest thing. It's kind of like what we expect from our athletes. And so if I'm not willing to put myself in that state of vulnerability, like how can the athletes? So
That's cool.
Did you call the Kristen O'Neill pick? Was that one that you announced?
no, so the first four were all announced by either a special guest or the GM.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that just is so interesting to me about the makeup of this league and the rosters is the idea of seeing players who are kind of slotted in as one thing, maybe on the national team, getting a chance to flourish maybe in like a different kind of way. And I feel like Kristen O'Neill is potentially one of those players. She's a bottom six forward on the national team, but seems like she certainly has the potential for more with your group in particular. Is that something that makes sense?
Totally. Kristen O'Neill has just continued to climb the international stage. She has become an extremely reliable player for us on the national team with Team Canada, especially if you watch the last rivalry series, playing big minutes 5-on-5, very good on the kill, and can even slot in on power play in certain situations as well. She's a player that is hard to play against and annoying to play against. And you want those types of players on your team. And so, with Kristen's work ethic, the sky is the limit for her. So for us, having somebody like that on our team made sense. And obviously you can't deny the chemistry there with Laura Stacey, and their ability to play 5-on-5 together, but also be arguably the best two PKers in the world. And so, that was important for us to have someone like that who could come in and we know what we have, we know what we're going to get every single day, and that she's just continuing to climb in her game.
I heard she's a beast in fitness testing.
That is accurate. I mean, we'll get to see here today, but I think she takes a lot of pride in her fitness, and it shows on the ice, in her compete level. She goes up against the biggest players in the world, and she goes up against the strongest players in the world. And she's hard to play against still. So that's something that she definitely prides herself on.
You mentioned that your approach is like well aligned with Danielle Sauvageau. How much of that was like, were you guys like, yeah, I think we should go out and sign Marie-Philippe Poulin? I think that's something we should do. Do we have any disagreements here? Are we on the same page? It seems like a conversation you probably had early.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was a little bit of a debate. No, I'm just joking. No, but like for someone like Poulin, I mean, her game speaks for itself on the ice, and her ability to be a game breaker. But aside from that, the level of effort that she puts in away from the rink, in the gym, on the track, in practice, it's something that a lot of people don't get to see. They often see her on the big stage, where her level of preparation has now met the opportunity. And so she flourishes in those moments because she puts in the level of effort away from the rink. And that was a big piece for us as well. When we were drafting, it was important for us to, select players, select people who had a similar alignment in how their work ethic was. And so, we know that when they come to Montreal, it's going to be a very hardworking environment, and that is led by players like Poulin and Stacey and O'Neill. And so we knew that there had to be some alignment there throughout our thought process with our draft picks as well.
Maybe this is unrelated, but I guess not. Like, do you think you guys are going to name a captain in year one?
Yeah, that's something that we haven't formally talked about yet as a staff. As you could probably imagine, the amount of things that have needed to be taken care of leading up to the opening kickoff of camp has been through the roof. But you know, I don't know what the league mandate will be. And I'm sure each team may be on their own to do what they will, but I think it's important to have a leader of the team and a leadership group who can help guide. I mean, you know, we're in year one. It's an important year for this league. And so, you know, you do need some good leadership in place. So that will definitely be a topic of conversation that will likely start to happen as training camp kicks off here on the ice.
And it's going to be interesting too, because as we're talking to you, there hasn't actually been the on ice sessions yet. So I just want, like, for anyone listening, being like, I want to hear about players that you've gotten to know a little bit more. Like, we're still early in the process, but I am really excited to see, because obviously, Kori, you have the relationship with players that you've coached before from the national team with the PWHPA, but there's going to be players in the fold at Montreal camp that you and Danielle are getting to know. You're getting to know their game. Kennedy Marchment is one. I mean, her stats, like, we can see how she played in the PHF. We can look at her numbers from when she played in Sweden, and that's a really exciting player, I think, for a lot of people, and someone I'm excited to see play with you guys. But we're gonna have to wait a few more days, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're bang on. Like, we've had some good interactions with these athletes so far off the ice, over Zoom calls, on the phone. And it's been nothing but a great experience. And obviously we know that, you know, it's early, and so everybody's excited. And obviously as the season goes on, we start to get to know people just a little bit more. But Kennedy Marchment is definitely somebody who we were really excited about, excited to select in the draft. You know, when you can get an MVP from a league that has been you know, in existence and playing games, and someone who knows how to put the puck in the back of the net, you know, that's hard to find. And especially someone who's willing to go to the blue paint and go into the areas that are a little bit harder to play against. And I think that sums up Kennedy Marchment. And you know, from my experience so far with her, she's a great human. And you know, with testing, it's a little bit tricky because everybody's kind of everywhere on these first few days. But trying to have little conversations here and there with them, getting to know them just a little bit more, so that when we do hit the ice, it's a little more comfortable for them. And I mean, as coaches, we're kind of used to, you know, no one tells you that when you sign up to be a coach, you basically sign up to be a public speaker. And I think, you know, that's something that just comes with the territory. So for us, it's really common to try to have small talk and to, you know, try to speak to little groups, and it's a little more comfortable for us. And I think it's a little less comfortable for the players. And so having those one-on-one touch points are just a good way to ease people in and to allow them to feel comfortable in a new environment.
Was that something you were prepared for? Like, when you got your first like big coaching gig, you were like, oh, I didn't think I would need to talk this much. I'm just here for like the systems, you know?
Well, it's funny because, you know, if you talk to any of my friends or family, they would tell you that I never stop talking, and that I'm also probably the loudest person they've ever met as well.
Okay, great. Love
so
that.
that has kind of that has actually helped me quite a bit as a coach. But I think what I wasn't prepared for was just how nerve-wracking it is to stand up in front of a group, especially when you're up there and there's like a Marie-Philippe Poulin and an Anne-Renee Desbiens all staring at you, basically like, hey, what's the solution here, coach? Meanwhile, you know, it's your first world championship. There's players on that team. Like, I say this all the time, like, you know, I showed up at my first world championship, and I think Poulin had already been to 3 Olympics and 10 world championships. Like, there's things I can learn from those players too. And so, you know, my approach as a coach is, you know, very much that it's important that it's a collaborative process, and that we want to learn as much from the players as they're going to learn from us, because everybody has different experiences. Like, I've never coached over overseas in Europe. So, for some of those players who have played over there, like, what a great opportunity to pick their brain on things that they liked, things that worked, things that didn't work. Now I know the ice surface is a little bit different, so things may change, but what a great opportunity to meet players from all over the world who have so much to offer for us as coaches too.
I mean, and you've had such an interesting and like impressive coaching resume. I mean, you were the first woman to be named full-time assistant with a men's hockey program in U Sports when you were with TMU, which was Ryerson at the time, assistant coach with Team Canada, first woman to coach a Canadian men's national team at U18 Worlds. And then you had the guest coach with the Penguins this year. I believe you did something similar with the Coyotes a year or two before with the female coaches program. So just like so many different touch points in the sport, so many different experiences. But I wanted to ask about this Penguins guest coaching this year, because there were some cool things that came out of that for you too. Like, I saw the moment where Mike Sullivan congratulates you on the PWHL Montreal job. You do the puck drop in Halifax against the Sens, and it was you, Crosby, Batherson, all like Nova Scotia kids. So that seemed like a good summer for Kori Cheverie, a good September.
Honestly, that was kind of a dream come true to be called by the Penguins. For me growing up, like, Sid was someone that I was like, oh, we're the same age, but he's my favorite player. And so to be able to work with the Penguins and work with their staff and be on the ice with their players, like, it's been really a dream come true in terms of just, you grow up and before this year, we didn't necessarily have a full-time opportunity in a women's pro league. So you were kind of always looking to the men's side because that's where truly you would get a full-time position. And so, Pittsburgh has been nothing but a classy organization that really truly recognizes the importance of the important role that women play in the sporting industry. And they've been incredibly supportive of my career and my journey. And a pretty cool moment was so Pittsburgh was my first ever NHL training camp. I had gone to Coyotes development camp the year before, but this was my first, like, with all the big guys, all the stars. And so I was on the bench and I was going to be calling the forwards. And this was just during camp, but like my first team, I was coaching Sid. And so, like, to look down and see like Crosby on the back of a jersey, I was like, where am I right now? Like, what is happening? So that was pretty cool moment for me. And then, they've been so incredible with whatever I need. I can pick their brains. I can call them at any time. Like, the Pens are on a 5-game win streak right now, and I can easily just text Sully and say, hey, keep it going, or it's and we chit chat like that. So it's been a really cool experience. I don't know what the process will be moving forward with my time now with Montreal, but my experience to date with Pittsburgh has been nothing short of amazing.
You probably take some notes on the public speaking aspect of stuff from Mike Sullivan too.
Short and sweet.
I feel like you could pick some stuff out and use it yourself from his approach there.
He's a great speaker.
Yes, he is.
He's very to the point, and very clear and concise. And, but that is, it doesn't go without practice. Like, he's a veteran in the league, and him and his staff are still talking about, the vocabulary that they're going to use. Every word that they use, the word selection is important to them. And that's important to me as well. Players don't want to be inundated with, long, wordy explanations of the way you run a power play. It's like, how do we score more goals? How do we get the pucks to the net? How can I shoot this puck more quickly? And so I've definitely taken a page out of his books and just, how he carries himself in front of the team and how concise he is. It's a pretty cool experience to hear him speak.
Well, this has been a very cool experience for us to have you on the show, Kori. I feel like we wish we could have you on for like another half an hour, but you have a team to run. So we should probably let you go.
Oh,
But
yeah,
we appreciate it.
It's sad, but like I said, when I saw who I was going to be on the call with today, I was like, I emailed back in like 2 seconds. I was like, yes, sure, for sure. When is it? So
Yeah.
Talking about me.
You
of
saw
course.
Sean
Good.
Gentille and you were like, I'm in. Love that
I
guy.
was like, let's go. No, but you know, Hailey, you and I always see each other around the rink, and so it's nice to get to sit down and chit chat and get to know each other a little bit more. And Sean, it's been a pleasure to
Absolutely.
get to know you on here. I know it's only been, 30 minutes, but thank you very much for having me today.
I appreciate it. This was great. This was way better than me accidentally ignoring you in hallways and arenas all the time. Or randomly being on the same airplane.
Heard
The
about
amount
that
of
one.
times
Heard about
I've
both
just,
of those.
like, no, I like literally stared at Kori once as she like waved, and I was like,
who is that?
what's happening? Well, I feel like I'm
So
the one
embarrassing for
who
you.
it was, but I'm the one who's like, she's definitely waving at somebody else, and I'm like the only one in the hallway. I'm like, who is it?
Oh, it's me.
Could it be me? So this was great. We appreciate it, Kori.
No, I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you very much.